Hello everyone. So in this video, we will learn how to read a name and display the name using Python and Tkinter. So this is my pseudocode. So we'll follow these steps in order to see how do we read a name and display it using Python and Tkinter. So let's get started. So we will follow these pseudocode as I said. So I'll just copy this and go to my file. And I'll paste that here. So let's get started. So first, all the usual stuff that you guys have seen already. Again, our goal is to create this GUI. So you can see it says type your name. So I should be able to type my name here. Then I should be able to click on the save button. When I click on the save, my name should get displayed. So let's do all the usual stuff. Importing the TK class. Oops, mistake. And then I'm gonna do root dot main loop. So these are the three basic steps to get started with Tkinter. And then we are going to create the GUI here. So we can have type your name. So you're gonna create this label. So let's call this name label. I'm gonna say tk dot label. Type your name. Forgot the root and the text. And then I'll pack this label. So that's my first step. So first thing is we have to create the name label. Next step, you're gonna have an entry to type that name. So I'm gonna call this name entry, tk.entry. Entry doesn't need any text, and then let's pack it. And then the last step is we're going to create a save button here. So step 2, second step. And then we're going to have our third step. Save button. And let's pack this. So what we just did is all the usual things that we did before. So now we're going to start the new things. First of all, we're going to create an empty label to display the user's name, because if you want to display the name, you need to have something to display the name, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to create an empty label and use that empty label to display. So if I click on run right now, so you can see there is the save button, but after the save button, there is no space. So first thing is I have to create an empty label. So you will see an empty space just below the save button. So let's do that first. And that, let's call this our fourth step. So let's call this empty label. So tk dot label and root. So to create an empty label, the text should be an empty string. And that's my empty label. And let's pack this. Actually, instead of empty label, let's call this display label, because this label is going to display our name. So let's use a better name. So now you'll notice the difference. So right now, after the save button, there is no space, but if I click on run, you will see that there is a new space. Okay, so that's my fourth step. Now, next step, fifth step. So after we are done with the empty label, we have a button to user save and display that. So we already did all these steps. So next thing is we're going to create a function to save and display the user's name. So fifth step is we're going to create a function. In Python, to create a function, you have to write the word def. Now, a function is something, we can say a block of code, which will only work when you want to. So function will have code, but that code will not work. It will only work when you want it to work. So let's first create a function. So you're gonna first write the word def, then the function needs a name. Let's call this read name, because the function is going to read the name. We can update the name later, but for now, here it is. So when you are going to read the name, the first step is you have to read the name from this entry. So in order to read the name from entry, let's follow this step. I'm going to create a variable. Let's call this name. This name is going to come from the name entry. So whatever you type, so let's say you type the name here. So in order to read that name, you have to read the name from the entry. My entry name is name entry. So you're going to say name entry, and the command is .get. So the .get will return the text. You can see it here. So whatever you type, it will be returned as a text, which is a string, and it will be saved in the variable called name. So the first step in the function would be to read the name. The next step is to pass that name to the display label, because that display label is going to display the name. So how do I do this? So now I'm going to call the display label. Now to make changes to the display label, the command is .config. .config means you're now making changes to the display label. What changes you're making? The text is now going to be updated. So what we're going to do is, instead of having that empty text, I'm going to say text will be, first I'm going to say hello. I'm going to add a space. And now I'm going to add that name. So I'm going to say plus name. So this means you're combining the string hello with the name, which is coming from the user. So hello, name will display the name that you typed in that entry. Let's also add an exclamation here. And that's it. However, if you write this, nothing is going to happen. So if I click on run, you can see no difference, because these two lines of code will not work. As I said, that's the purpose of creating a function. Function means a block of code, which will only work when you want to. So when do we want to work on this function? So when should this function work? When you click on the save button. Right now, if I click on save, nothing happens, because now I have to pass this function to this save button, so that when I click on save, these two lines of the code will get executed. So that's my last step. So sixth step. So what we're going to do is we're going to now config that save button. So I'm going to say save button dot config. So save button will now get this function. So in order to pass a function, you have to write command equal to name of the function, which is read name. Okay. So this means, okay, when I click on the button, this function read name, be careful that the name has to be the same. Whatever you have here, it needs to be matched here. So this is saying that when you click on the save button, first, it is going to read the person's name, save it in a variable, and the display label will get that name. And the display label will start working. Before you click the save button, the display label is empty. Okay, so we are all done. So these are the 6 steps we need to read and display someone's name. So now if I click on run, if I type my name and press the save button, you will see it's going to say hello, my name. And again, this is coming from this function. So first, it reads the name, and then having this message. Let's also add a comment here. Okay, so that's the steps to read, write, save, and display a person's name using Python and Tkinter. So hopefully this makes sense. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thank you for watching the video. Bye.